Across the Mediterranean, along the northern coast of Africa, once stood Carthage, a city-state that grew from humble origins into one of antiquity's greatest civilizations. Renowned for its wealth, impressive navy, and strategic brilliance, Carthage became the Mediterranean's dominant trading empire and Rome's greatest rival. Yet, despite its extraordinary rise and prominence, Carthage's story is ultimately one of resilience tested by intense rivalries and dramatic conflicts. From small settlement to prosperous city, Carthage's story began around 814 BCE, when settlers from Phoenicia, modern-day Lebanon, led by the legendary Queen Elissa, better known as Dido, arrived on the shores of present-day Tunisia. According to legend, Dido negotiated cleverly with local tribes, buying only as much land as could be covered by an ox hide. She then shrewdly cut the hide into thin strips to encircle a substantial piece of territory. This symbolic tale illustrates Carthage's earliest trait, the strategic ingenuity that would shape its destiny. Over the centuries, Carthage developed into a vibrant center of trade, skillfully capitalizing on its strategic location at the crossroads of the Mediterranean. Carthaginians quickly established trade networks stretching from Spain to West Africa, exchanging textiles, metals, pottery, olive oil, wine, and precious metals. Yet, what truly drove Carthage's prosperity was its control over Mediterranean maritime commerce, making it a formidable rival to emerging powers like Greece and, later, Rome. Interesting fact, Carthage's Phoenician heritage meant its people were renowned sailors who navigated by the stars, boldly exploring areas of the Atlantic and reaching as far as Britain in search of tin. As Carthage's wealth expanded, so did its political influence. Initially content with commerce, Carthaginians increasingly found themselves drawn into territorial control to protect trade routes and secure resources. They built settlements and trading posts across Sicily, Sardinia, Corsica, southern Spain, and North Africa, creating a vast commercial empire that dominated Mediterranean trade. Unlike Rome, Carthage rarely directly governed territories through force. Instead, it relied heavily on diplomacy and economic incentives, preferring to secure cooperation through alliances and trade agreements rather than direct conquest. Carthaginian leaders understood clearly that stable commerce required stable alliances, a strategy that brought wealth but also vulnerability, especially in Sicily, a land increasingly contested by powerful rivals. By the 5th century BCE, Sicily became a hotspot of rivalry between Carthage and Greek city-states like Syracuse. Control over this fertile, strategically crucial island led to prolonged wars. These Greek Punic Wars were brutal, shifting territories back and forth. While Carthage held firm, the battles drained resources, tested its military strength, and foreshadowed the even greater struggle yet to come: the clash with Rome. Rome, emerging rapidly on the Italian peninsula, initially appeared as no threat to Carthage's supremacy. Early interactions were friendly, marked by trade agreements and mutual respect. However, their competing interests in Sicily soon turned friendship into rivalry. Rome's ambition to dominate the Mediterranean region increasingly clashed with Carthage's determination to protect its trade empire. Interesting fact, the Carthaginian army was largely composed of mercenaries, soldiers hired from across North Africa, Spain, and Gaul, highlighting its cosmopolitan yet fragile military strength. The Punic Wars, Carthage versus Rome. In 264 BCE, tensions finally exploded into open warfare. The First Punic War began. Carthage initially held advantages with a superior navy, but Rome's relentless determination tipped the scales. By imitating Carthaginian shipbuilding technology, Rome rapidly constructed fleets, neutralizing Carthage's advantage. After years of grueling combat, Carthage faced defeat in 241 BCE, losing control of Sicily to Rome and forced to pay heavy war reparations. This crushing defeat marked a turning point, but it would only be the first chapter in their epic struggle. Stung by defeat, Carthage sought revenge. The Barcid family, a powerful aristocratic faction, turned to Spain to rebuild Carthaginian strength. There, they secured new resources, especially silver mines, and built alliances to challenge Rome once again. From this environment arose Hannibal Barca, son of General Hamilcar Barca, who would soon shock Rome with one of history's most daring military campaigns. In 218 BCE, Hannibal famously led his army, complete with war elephants, across the treacherous Alps to strike directly at Rome's heartland. This unprecedented act caught Rome completely off guard. Hannibal's brilliant strategy, which involved marching elephants through the treacherous Alps, was an enormous logistical feat that highlighted his skill as a military leader. For nearly 2 decades, Hannibal terrorized the Roman countryside, winning numerous battles. His most remarkable victory, at Cannae in 216 BCE, saw a smaller Carthaginian army decisively defeat a larger Roman force. Yet, despite his battlefield brilliance, Hannibal could not capture Rome itself. Without sufficient reinforcements or siege equipment, his victories drained Carthaginian resources, slowly weakening support from home. Meanwhile, Rome adapted strategically, avoiding direct confrontations, and focused instead on attacking Carthaginian territories in Spain and North Africa. Ultimately, Rome's patient counterstrategy succeeded. In 202 BCE, Hannibal was forced to return to Africa to defend Carthage from invasion. At the decisive Battle of Zama, he met his first significant defeat against the Roman general Scipio Africanus. Carthage once again had lost a devastating conflict. Fascinating fact, Hannibal's campaign across the Alps cost him nearly half his men and almost all his elephants, a heavy price for his famous feat. Following the Second Punic War, Carthage was forced into harsh peace terms. It surrendered territory, dismantled its navy, and faced crippling reparations. Yet, even in humiliation, Carthage managed to rebuild quickly, astonishing Rome with renewed prosperity. Agriculture flourished, trade recovered, and the city itself regained its status as a thriving commercial hub within a few decades. However, Carthage's unexpected resurgence alarmed Rome, which feared another potential rival. Influential Roman politicians, notably Cato the Elder, aggressively argued that Carthage posed a perpetual threat and demanded its total destruction. Fueled by suspicion and envy, Rome initiated the Third Punic War in 149 BCE, determined this time to end Carthaginian power permanently. The fall of Carthage-Rome laid siege to Carthage in 149 BCE, beginning one of history's most brutal confrontations. The Carthaginians fought desperately to defend their city, resisting fiercely for 3 long years. But Rome was unyielding. In 146 BCE, Roman forces breached the city walls, systematically destroying Carthage street by street. After days of bloody combat, Carthage fell, its walls dismantled, its buildings burned, its citizens enslaved or scattered. The Romans allegedly salted the fields surrounding Carthage, symbolically ensuring it could never rise again. Deeper historical insight. Recent historical research questions the ancient claim that Romans salted Carthage, suggesting it might have been symbolic rather than literal, a lasting warning against rebellion. Despite its destruction, Carthage's legacy endured. The Romans rebuilt it as a prominent colony centuries later, becoming an important provincial capital of the Roman Empire. Carthage's advanced agricultural techniques influenced Roman farming practices, while its maritime knowledge shaped Mediterranean navigation. Culturally, Carthage's fierce rivalry with Rome significantly shaped Roman military strategy, politics, and foreign policy for centuries. Additionally, Carthaginian leaders, especially Hannibal, became symbols of resilience and tactical brilliance studied even today. Carthage's story, rising from modest beginnings, facing powerful rivals, enduring crushing defeats, and constantly rebuilding, remains an extraordinary example of human resilience and ambition. Its history is a compelling reminder of how quickly fortunes can shift, how easily greatness can be lost, and how vividly an empire's impact can survive even its destruction.